Okay, I got a great idea for the cold open.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to be like, okay, it's going to be a big old goof where like one of us says, hey, why don't we treat Venom like with respect? And then the other one like does the Venom voice and is like, Eddie.
So I'm going to be the one who does that, right?
No. I figure you could be, because you play like the straight man better than I can, and then I'm gonna be like, Eddie, we're gonna do a podcast, Eddie.
Yeah, but like you like just saw the movie. I've watched it. I've been
I've been this.
Yeah. So just I could be like Eddie.
Well, no, but you're right. I just watched it, so it's fresh in my mind. So I could be like, Eddie, do the show.
I think it'd be fun. If you were maybe the straight man, I could be like Eddie.
No, you're like the straight. You're the straight man. You're the straight man, and then I'm Eddie.
Scotty, there are no straight men in this podcast. But you know what there is? Fun fiction.
Yes, Eddie. Say it, Eddie. Yes. So welcome to Fun Fiction, the show where two idiots ruin that thing you like, and I've been floating around all week like a turd in the wind. Scotty Moore!
And I'm only allowed to eat the bad guys. I'm Megan Danger.
I'm upset because I do genuinely love Venom as a character. Even as I was a kid, because I always loved this dark version of the superhero. So Venom is the ultimate dark reflection of a hero, and then he became popular and became an anti-hero. And so I was ready to come in and talk about Ultimate Spider-Man on PS2, I believe is what it was, and all the different appearances of Venom. And then I watched the fucking movie and I said, uh-oh, I'm not gonna talk about anything other than this.
I can't believe, I just want to get in front of this and say that I can't believe that you hadn't seen the movie. And then also on top of that you've been making Eddie jokes with me for months. You've been lying to me, to my face. I became a part of the lie, Scott.
No, the amount of goofs that I just make through osmosis, cultural symbiosis, you could say, is insane. I'll make Breaking Bad jokes all day. I've only seen part of the first season, but I'm still here ready to talk to you, Mr. White. Which, holy shit,
wow.
What if
that was terrible.
It was, but what if that but Venom? And Venom is Jesse Pinkman.
Oh God! It's still it's still Walter. Walter,
we gotta cook. Hey, bitch, we gotta cook. I also my original fanfic I was gonna write was literally just the first episode of Rick and Morty, but with Venom as Rick.
Oh God!
And Eddie Brock as Morty.
I'm real glad you didn't do that.
Well, it's because they already did it, because holy shit, that's just Tom Hardy's voice in the fucking movie. Hey, I just really want to come and talk to... It's so weird because they play him like a nerd, but also he's a very accomplished reporter who has his own television program, but it's he's a fucking loser, am I right? Not really.
Well, he becomes a loser. He starts out, he's the guy who has it all, and then he fucks up and he loses it all. But yes, he is Tom Hardy. He's big, he's buff, he wears a motorcycle jacket, and everybody's used to him having this very intense Cockney accent, and he does a great job of dumping his accent, but he's just I'm Eddie Brock. I messaged you. I said, we have found a new level of Doctor Strange American accent. Yeah. But in this case, it's not a bad impersonation. It's just a choice. It is. Yeah, that it's not a New York City. It's just this weird, you said it, that it's like nothing but vocal fry, which is like the perfect way to describe it.
Hey, Venom, can we go out and get us a New York slice? Venom, can we enjoy a nice quote?
Eddie, I need an old-fashioned New York slice, Eddie.
Eddie, prepare for me the New York slice. Let us go to Chinatown, Eddie.
In my world, we do not have the New York slice, Eddie.
In my world, we do not have this China, Eddie. Show it to me.
Eddie, how did a shrimp fry this rice, Eddie? I hate that this has become
We're building our own shitty Avengers that's just made of a bunch of people who are clearly British but obsessed with New York slices.
I think it's got potential. So, I'm kind of the opposite of you in the sense where I knew like almost like all of my knowledge of Venom is just like, oh yeah, that guy what showed up in the Spider-Man cartoons, he's goo and he's bad, and then also, you know, that he was real shitty in the third Spider-Man film. So like I got nothing holding me back in this movie. Like I understand like the pain as someone who reads a lot of books and sees a lot of really shitty movie adaptations of books, but for this one, it was just kind of like, goo alien, make Tom Hardy go burr.
It is obnoxiously bad. As like and obviously like a lot of it came from the fact of Venom's origin cannot be discussed because he was a Spider-Man first, and then Spider-Man was like, I don't like you, get off my body, and then he went to Eddie Brock, who also hates Spider-Man, and it's like, did we just become best friends, Eddie? Yeah.
You are my rebound, Eddie.
The only thing that really upset, because like obviously I knew you couldn't have the Spider-Man connection, but the only thing that made me mad about that is the fact that that also meant he couldn't have the badass white spider across his chest and instead just has these weird, uncomfortably like translucent white veins.
Yeah.
And I hate it. I hate it so much.
The special effects and the design and stuff, like I love this movie. I will go out and defend this movie as being a beautiful bonkers roller coaster. Visually, it does kind of suck.
It is a garbage film to look at. And also, fun fact for our audience members, I recently became like fully sober, which means I had to watch Venom fully sober.
And I got to hear about it in real-time texts from you.
And I was just sitting there like, I know Megan enjoys this movie, but this first 40 minutes has been the longest 40 minutes of my life. Then Venom showed up, and it became the greatest film I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's the thing it's rough, is like that first half hour and change is a lot of nothing, but then Tom Hardy's getting in the fucking lobster tank, baby.
That dumb piece of shit just climbs in that lobster tank.
That was not like, when I say that wasn't scripted, I don't mean that he just kind of did it while they were filming, but it was his idea. It was not like originally a thing they were going to do, and Tom Hardy's like, "Oi, I'm getting in that tank, governor.
Let me eat that lobster. It could be a good part of a New York slice." You're not even in character, Eddie. I don't care.
I've got a parasite.
I did scroll up to find my description of this film that I sent you, which is Venom is like a dumpster fire, but the dumpster is outside of a firework factory, so you're excited to watch it.
Exactly. It's beautiful. Yeah, you said something else there, like that it was like in this quantum state of being like an amazing movie and also the worst piece of shit you've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. And what's weird is, like, that's not me saying this is a bad movie, but it's fun to watch. No, it is a very good movie at points. And it is also a very terrible movie at points.
It really just depends on what minute you're in.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, you can... I've never shot between utter enjoyment and hatred of a film so quickly as I did with Venom. Oh God, a part of me does want to do a plot synopsis of it, but God, I don't want to go through it again. I don't want to relive it. I will say, someone posted a review of Let There Be Carnage, which is already shaping up to be fucking insane, because I do believe in one scene, Venom has a coming out party at a gay club, which I just love.
Yeah, I did see, I saw that on, of course, Tumblr.
Yes.
I'm so fucking hyped to see Let There Be Carnage. The only thing that would make it better is if it was rated R.
Oh, yeah. This description of it, though, is amazing. Any enjoyment derived from the first Venom film feels like an accident. The marketing played up a dark, shadowy, potentially violent anti-hero story, but the fun came from how unusually silly it was for a modern comic book adaptation, with Tom Hardy going gonzo using weird-ass voices and climbing into lobster tanks. Now, here's Venom Let There Be Carnage, a sequel that does away with any serious pretext. Much like The Evil Dead 2, it is an off-the-wall, over-the-top, Three Stooges-inspired freak show, which results in a queer-coded rom-com about two very messy boys who love each other.
Here's the only thing I could hear the entire time you were saying that. This movie's for Megan. This movie's for Megan. This movie's for Megan.
That is the same thing I said. Because I was like, I don't know. I'll probably see it sometime later. And then I just went, because like I've not seen a movie in a theater in a very long time. And when I see something that's like, it's only in theaters, we're not streaming this because we want you to get COVID, I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Not for Carnage. I was like, no, I gotta see this now.
Yeah, it is obnoxious because it always has that edge to it of only in theaters. And it's like, fuck you.
Fuck off. Mortal Kombat was just as good in home as it was in theater.
Yeah, but I gotta see the Carnage.
It's so good.
Woody Harrelson told me there was gonna be Carnage.
He said Carnage was gonna be there in his fucking Lil Debbie wig.
His fucking Raggedy Ann look.
Honestly, that's what makes me so, like, because as I discussed last week during the Spider-Man episode, one of my first comics was Maximum Carnage, which is all about, like, anti-hero Venom, good boy Spider-Man, and then Ultimate Devil Man Carnage. So now I'm excited to see what they do. I hope I want them to keep the goofiness of Venom and that whole character. I really want Woody Harrelson to go full Natural Born Killers, though. I do not want any goofs to come from this boy.
Yeah.
Because, like, that was kind of the problem. Oh, man. The problems in Venom, the first one, are lengthy, but the main villain, as I told you, is somehow... They found a dimension underneath a one-dimensional character. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, he sucks, which is a shame because Riz Ahmed's a good actor, and like the only person who's coming close to trying as hard as Tom Hardy is Riz Ahmed. So it sucks that he just has absolutely nothing to work with. You're bad scientist. No.
Honestly, if you made a list of every evil scientist monologue, it's in this film. It doesn't matter what scene it's in. At one point, he's just like, humanity has destroyed this earth. He doesn't speak German. I wish he had that accent.
Yeah,
though.
no, he just sounds like a dude.
He's very Elon Musk coded, I think. He's very musky. But
there's a weird trend that, I mean, I know now this movie's, quite a few years old at this, it's a few years old at this point. But like, there's this weird trend that I've noticed in movies where it's like, we gotta add diversity, and if there's like a character of color or like any kind of minority like actor, they're playing the evil scientist villain.
It's not we want minorities, it's we want this white boy character to be played by a minority, is what it is. Also, did not realize Riz Ahmed was also a rapper.
I did not know that either. I know him from Star Wars and like a couple other things.
Yeah, he was in Rogue One, it looks like.
Yeah. He was a good little pilot boy.
He's known by Riz MC, was a member of the Sweatshop Boys, and earned commercial success on, wait for it, the Hamilton mixtape. In the eye of a symbiote, there is quiet.
What if Venom? He just has Lin-Manuel Miranda's voice.
Eddie. I thought you were gonna say.
I will not throw away my shot, Eddie. Now I'm just trying to think of his DuckTales character.
No, I want to reverse it. Now, pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir? And it's just Aaron Burr getting assaulted by a symbiote.
Shit. Okay, that is also very good.
It's very quality. This has now just become a Riz Ahmed fan podcast.
Call me son one more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Eddie, there are 10 things you need to know.
These are the best kind of episodes where we're talking about Venom, but I'm fairly sure we have said nothing of note about Venom. It's very good.
Look, he's a weird goo alien, and him and Eddie love each other very much, sometimes in certain spaces of the internet, carnally.
I mean, they did make out in the film, which, by the way, She-Venom can get it. I hate saying these words.
Just do it, say it, embrace it.
Like, she just walked up, and I was just like, damn, film, okay.
Damn, bitch, you just bit a head off. Nice. Girl boss.
Gaslight, gatekeep, Venom boss.
That was the first one you said, gas leak.
Gas leak, girl boss, Venom. So Venom is a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No, he's not. He's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, that's right, because like Sony isn't. I always get Sony and Fox mixed up. Like when I was trying to find the film, I was just kept going like, why is it on any of the Fox apps? Oh, wait a minute. It's because it's not. It's Sony.
I mean, Disney fucking owns. I don't know what Disney doesn't own at this point.
I think they do not own Sony because like that's the whole big deal is they kept having to negotiate to keep Tom Holland there because I'm fairly sure when they were like, Disney will not be involved in No Way Home, the film which you spoiled for everybody last week. I'm fairly sure they were like, no, Disney will not be involved. At which point Tom Holland said, bitch, I won't be involved then. And I'm fairly sure on I think it was some talk show he was talking about it. He goes, yeah, they told me I had to get on the phone and talk with people at Sony, which was an issue because I was very drunk at the time.
That's amazing.
Adorable little Tom Holland baby.
I forget that he's like an adult man. He's so small.
Has Tom Holland grown a beard? I feel like that would be a cursed image.
Yeah. Like, they're going to have him play a 16-year-old till he's like 30.
Even when he has a beard, it looks like the beard of a child.
Child beard. Oh, now I gotta look it up.
No, welcome to our episode on Venom, folks, where it's all about Tom Holland's child beard.
Tom Holland's. Oh wow, yeah. That's baby's first beard.
Oh wait a minute. The more I'm looking, I think these are all fan edits. I don't think Tom Holland has ever grown a beard.
Oh my god, yeah. This just does say if you've ever wondered what Tom Holland would look like with these are all fake. Oh my god, these are all fake.
One of them, I think they've spliced actual Ashton Kutcher's bottom face onto Tom Holland's face.
Wait, nope. There's one that's real because it says Tom Holland just grew some facial hair, and honestly, it looks exactly as what I would picture. Oh, this poor boy. When's this from? Oh, wow, this is from several years ago, actually. It's from 2017.
I enjoy that it's not showing me many of Tom Holland with a beard, but I am getting a shit ton of Andrew Garfield with a beard. And it's not good.
Really?
It's really...
I'm sending you the actual Tom Holland facial hair image.
This is so good for our audio podcast.
It is.
That's not a beard. That boy ate some chocolate milk. It just got on his face.
All right, we can bring this back because you know who can grow a beard? Tom Hardy.
Venom. You know Venom with his good old beard.
His beard's name is Eddie Brock.
It's oh, that works on so many levels. I adore that.
I felt very proud of that.
So what else can you say about Venom?
I mean, are we going to address why Venom, because at the time, like you said, it was billed as this very gritty, very like if it was in the early 2000s, the trailer would have had like some fucking new metal butt rock shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, would have had like Trapped or something. And then the reason that even though it was not good, and it was panned, that it was immensely fucking popular was because of monster fuckers.
It's because of monster fuckers, and it's also because Tom Hardy deserves a fucking Oscar for this film, which is not I get it, it's not a film that should have an Oscar, but they gave Suicide Squad an Oscar, the first one. Tom Hardy deserves a fucking Oscar because he brought so much to this film, and like I said, when Venom shows up, film kicks it into a whole nother gear, and it just becomes a goofy buddy comedy.
It is, yeah. Like I said, he's giving 110% in a movie that deserves about 60.
Oh yeah, 110%. You are correct.
But yeah, people got real horny, and they're like, I've never seen a Venom comic, but I know one thing for sure, and that this man and this goo are in love.
They are in love. I really do. Because I know they're joking kind of somewhat about it on the internet. Like, hey, this is his coming out party and all that.
Not on Tumblr, baby.
I want him to lean into it. I really do. So badly.
Yes. God.
And like I said, it's not that it's it's not like he's going so intense it's like a Nicolas Cage bad. It's very good. Like the motorcycle scene where he's just trying to calm himself down as chaos is happening. And at the very end, he just turns around and perfectly deadpan. Hey, that was pretty cool. What was that? And then he just gets hit by a fucking truck.
I mean, I love when Venom like first starts popping out when the guys come to his apartment, and he's just like, "What's happening? Like, what's going on?" And then Venom's just like, "All right, now bite off all of their heads and put them in a pile." And it's like, what? Pile of bodies, pile of heads. And it's like, oh, this just became a very different film.
The best part about it for me was, put your hands up. You're making us look weak, Eddie. Put your arms back down. I'm not doing it. Put your arms down. I'm not.
When he goes to the top of the building and then it's just like, no, actually, I'm not doing this.
I'm afraid of heights. Yeah. The inspiration for the Venom voice, have you read about it?
No, I have not, actually.
Let me see if I can find the exact wording he uses, because it's fucking insane that this was his thought. But essentially, like, they came to him and were like, hey, it's not gonna be a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation.
He's fucking screaming. You can look for the quote.
Okay. Open the door, Megan. No, Megan, open the door.
Megan, I want to be a part of the podcast.
So, like I said, they aren't doing it's not a Jekyll and Hyde situation. They are Venom. And Hardy was like, I was drawn to this duality and compared the duo to the animated characters Ren and Stimpy.
Wow. That's a fucking pull. Jesus.
So Hardy gave Eddie Brock an aw shucks American accent, which is the best way to describe what he is doing in this film.
Yeah, I'm Eddie Brock. I've been saying
It hurt me to hear his voice at times. I just want to get some chocolate from my Venom symbiote. But that's not the crazy one. The crazy one is what he chose for Venom, which is a James Brown lounge lizard voice.
What?
That was modulated to sound more sinister, meaning that before sound editing, Venom was just like, "Hey, Eddie, come on over here. Let's chop off some heads, big man."
You sound like an American version of Matthew Berry.
Oh,
you sounded like a hey there, Zach.
That's Dionysus. You're down a completely other.
I was starting to. I know it's just a combination. I was trying to think of from Dark Place.
Oh, you and he were buddies, weren't you? Now that's what I want for the fucking sequel. I know they didn't because that would be insane. But Matt Berry as Venom?
God, that would be so amazing.
Hello, Eddie. Please come here.
Whenever I think of it, I just think of that one fucking line from What We Do in the Shadows. It's the only thing I can think of, which is just, "They've desecrated my vulva garden."
Yes, I know I've made this joke on the show before, but someone once described Matt Berry as if a British text-to-speak became a human, and I love that description so much.
I want that for Venom now so badly.
Let's go defeat Carnage, Eddie. Eddie, come on, Eddie.
So we're just thinking of other voices we would like to hear as Venom at this point.
Oh, Hannah, I'm in family, Eddie.
Eddie, put those heads in the corner and then put the bodies in the other corner. Pile of heads, pile of bodies.
It's a fucking scene, an explosion goes off. Gosh, Eddie. Megan is falling out of their seat. Megan is falling out of their fucking seat right now.
That was
Maxie. Eddie, you want to go to the Powerline concert, boy?
you do that way too well. That Gorsh was so like pure. I wasn't ready.
That was on par with Stonebane from last week. Okay, so what did you do this week for your fan fiction?
Okay, so I'm I tried again. It's fun when that happens. This is definitely one of my more technical fics where it's not very long, but it did take a lot of like thinking and effort.
Yeah.
I have for you, Scotty, because you're a part of this now, a choose your own adventure, a choose your own adventure, if you will.
Fuck you. That's our first one of this version of the show. I think I did one for Stranger Things back in season 0, but fuck yes.
All right. Are you ready to choose your own adventure?
Yes.
You are Eddie Brock, some kind of millennial reporter or whatever the fuck. You are currently sharing your rockin' bod with an alien symbiote named Venom, who calls you names sometimes and makes you eat frozen tater tots and also sometimes dudes.
Oh, fuck! How did we not bring up the tater tots?
Yeah,
God,
that bothered you.
It sucked so hard.
Also, he does eat dudes sometimes. but just bad dudes. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And speaking of being hungry and eating stuff, you've only just woken up on this fine Sunday morning, and you can already hear a voice in your head going,
Eddie, we require food. Eddie, give us chicken nuggets, and also maybe your landlord. Looks like
Chicky nuggets.
Chicky nuggets, Eddie.
Look, that might be further down. Looks like you have a decision to make. To roll over and go back to sleep, turn to page 7. To make chicken nuggets for Venom, turn to page 45. To go out for breakfast and avoid your landlord, turn to page 28. Now, I will, because I am forgiving, if you fuck up and you want to go back and try another page, I will allow you to do that.
Are there 45 pages of this?
Absolutely fucking not. I chose numbers at random.
Okay, I want to make Venom some chicky nuggies.
Okay. Yeah, okay, you mutter, staggering out of bed and heading to the kitchen. But no eating the landlord.
Acceptable.
Venom agrees.
For now.
You devour an entire bag of chicken nuggets like a fucking animal and are now ready to start your Sunday. To hit up Mrs. Chen's bodega for some groceries, turn to page 32. To take a nice walk in the park, turn to page 15. To make it a lazy indoor Sunday, turn to page 3.
As much as I would enjoy a lazy Sunday, I would like to go see Mrs. Chen.
I mean, you could flip to the lazy Sunday to see what happens.
Can I see what happens on the lazy Sunday, but my official choice is going to see Mrs. Chen?
Yeah, that's the thing where you put your finger on the page.
Oh, yeah.
What if we just hang out here today, you say? Feeling like a nice day inside would really recharge your batteries after all the bad guy murdering you've been engaging in. Maybe we could play some video games.
I know a game we can play, Eddie.
Not Smash Bros, you insist. You only win because you cheat.
We do not cheat.
Venom also insists.
You just suck. But we have a different game in mind.
And you find your body suddenly propelled to the couch, seemingly of its own accord. Venom oozes itself apart from you and gives your ear a gooey nibble. And here I thought today would be relaxing, you sigh.
You love it, Eddie.
And Venom's right. You absolutely do.
Oh, God.
The end.
Aww.
So you want to go back to page 32. You want to go to Mrs. Chen's.
Yeah.
You and Venom arrive at Mrs. Chen's bodega, and Venom cheerfully waves a gooey arm at her from out of your back. She's almost used to it at this point. You roam the aisles to do some shopping while you're here, and you can feel Venom getting antsy.
Eddie, give me candy bars.
All right, fine. And you put some candy in your basket.
Yay!
Yells Venom.
Fuck.
Yeah! But Eddie, do you know what's even sweeter than candy?
No?
You, Eddie.
Aww. And just like that, you find yourself having weird symbiote sex in the back of the bodega by the frozen pizza. You're super into it. Mrs. Chen is not. Oh, well. The end. Are there other options you'd like to explore?
I guess have a nice walk in the park then?
Sure.
Will this also end in me fucking Venom? Actually,
we'll find out.
Let me start that question over. Is there a single option in this that does not end in me fucking Venom?
I don't know.
Why don't we explore a little?
All right, if you're gonna go to the park, it's a beautiful day outside, so you decide to take a stroll through the park. Even Venom is quieter than usual as you enjoy the warmth of a mild spring day. Just then, out of nowhere, a woman screams. There's a dude trying to mug her. If you think this isn't your problem, turn to page 58. If you try to help the lady, turn to page 35.
Page 35. I gotta help this woman. I'm a superhero.
Exactly. Venom, we gotta help that lady, you cry as you run towards the screaming woman.
We eat her?
No, Venom, we help her.
Fine.
Venom, I'm losing my voice. Venom pouts before enveloping you in your gooey symbiote suit thing. You easily chase the mugger down and grab him by the neck, lifting him to face level. Wait, is that my landlord? And yes, holy shit, it is in fact your landlord, trying to mug some woman in broad daylight like a fucking punk.
We eat the landlord?
Venom asks eagerly. You can't come up with a compelling argument against it, so you nod your head ever so slightly to indicate that yes, Venom is allowed to eat the landlord.
And when we get home, Eddie, we stimulate your prostate?
And you smile and say, only if you behave. The end.
So that one didn't end in it, but it is in my future, is what you're telling me.
Yes. Do you want to know what would have happened if you rolled over and went back to sleep?
I assume the world's gooeyest reach-around hand job.
Venom's the big spoon.
And the little spoon.
Yeah.
He is every
He's all the
spoon.
spoons. That was the ending, though, where he talks about chicky nuggets.
It's very good.
So that's my choose your own Venom adventure. Yes, every single ending eventually leads to Eddie and Venom fucking.
I assume if I had tried to, if we had left to not, like, to avoid the landlord, we probably would have ended up in a similar situation.
If you left to avoid the landlord, you go straight to Mrs. Chen's bodega.
Okay.
I did not want to write a million fucking options.
You think like I do, which is how the fuck can I just connect all of these dots together without writing more dots?
Yes.
Well, I told you I was initially writing a Rick and Morty fanfic, and then I realized, wait, they've already done it. It's called Venom 2018. And so instead, I decided to revisit a well that we haven't visited in a while. I've written a fanfics where I've now written my version of what I would like to see if the world were perfect and businesses didn't have to control their own IPs or what the fuck ever. And so I was like, okay, if I had to make my perfect Venom origin, what would it be? And that's kind of where I started with. And then I kind of just realized, wait a minute, my perfect Venom origin would just be like Spider-Man's origin story, but darker. And like literally a dark mirror of that. So that's where I started. Then some shit went off the rails.
Did you just make an edgelord Venom?
Not really. It is a lot more. It's not as silly as what we have in the real world. I tried to make something real. So the beginning of the film, long fucking Tim Burton ass tracking shot of like newspapers showing Spider-Man's accomplishments. We see Spider-Man's suit. It's all about Spider-Man, but also we see the symbiote kind of crawling over everything and corrupting it, making it dark. Before finally we go to a scene at Times Square. We see black suited Spider-Man going toe to toe with your favorite and mine. He's a bit of a scientist himself, the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
But the whole time we're not seeing it through like the action movie shots. We're seeing it from the perspective of Eddie Brock, a local photographer and reporter for the Daily Bugle who's desperately out looking for some pictures of Spider-Man for his boss, J. Jonah Jameson. Fight with Gobby continues until the symbiote literally takes the Goblin glider, tosses it to the earth, and then grabs him by the throat. It holds him off the side of the building. He then sends Goblin hurtling to his death, but before he can make contact with the pavement, a web shoots out and grabs him. Spider-Man has saved the Green Goblin before the symbiote could take over and actually kill someone. Goblin gets loaded up into a van, prepared to be sent to the raft. Brock looks down at his camera and he sees some amazing action shots. He's excited, rushes back to the Bugle, excited to finally get a raise, until he arrives at the Bugle, where Jameson is already fucking hyphy as hell for some pictures from the battle that were taken by Peter fucking Parker.
I thought you were saying Jameson was already high as hell.
Holy fuck, I need some good pictures of Spider-Man. Eddie tries to show off his pictures, but Peter's are fucking impossible for a normal person to get because he's cheating. Then the phone begins to ring off the hook. Jameson orders Brock to go with Parker to get pictures of an ongoing situation taking place near the Brooklyn Bridge. Goblin had managed to sneak a pumpkin bomb into the van, taking him to the raft, and he blew up the entire vehicle and is now attempting an escape. He has got his Goblin glider back, but the police are attempting to hold him back. Brock does some cool motorcycle shit trying to beat Peter Parker there, and he does. Fortunately, he didn't beat fucking Spider-Man there because Black Suit Spidey and Goblin are once again fighting it out. Not willing to be outdone by Parker, we get an amazing over-the-shoulder shot of Eddie chasing after them, trying to take pictures of the battle while also staying on the earth, until the distractions overtake him and he crashes his motorcycle, which sends him colliding into a nearby church tower.
It sounds like it would be a sick video game level.
Oh, yeah. His ears are ringing, ribs are broken. He is nearing fucking death with every breath he takes. Meanwhile, Goblin and Spidey are beginning a battle around the church tower, which ends when Goblin tosses a pumpkin bomb at Spidey, who it nearly messes until it collides with the church bell and it explodes, which causes the symbiote to detach from Peter, because symbiotes hate loud noises, I guess, because Venom's weakness is the stupidest thing about him. Spidey...
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. All you gotta do is make a very loud noise.
Fucking sucks. If it was fire, which it is in the comics, it's okay. So Spidey falls to the earth in a heap. He has been exploded. Goblin closes in to make the final kill. Speaking of kill, Eddie's eyesight has begun to fade. His breaths have become shallower. Eddie Brock is about to die before our very eyes. He tries to hold on to reality, but he can't until he hears a voice saying,
Eddie.
Yay!
Cut back to Goblin getting ready to unmask Spider-Man before killing him, when suddenly a tendril of symbiote grabs him by the arm and pulls him into a full-force headbutt from Venom. I'm not hiding him. He is here. I'm not gonna do that. Ooh, is he here? What is this? No, fuck that. He's here. He's Venom. He's badass.
He's here. He's queer. He's Venom.
The headbutt is so powerful that it actually crushes Goblin's mask. He's kind of got that. He literally has the Willem Dafoe kind of look. He exposes his face to the world. Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin, but Venom does not give a shit and just begins to beat the living shit out of him. And this is not. I really want everything up to this point to be pretty. I want it to be MCU, super polished, well choreographed fighting. When Venom begins to fight, though, I want it to be the most brutal bullshit in the entire world. Excessively violent, excessively raw. There's blood flying everywhere. It is a tonal shift in the entire movie. Then bullets strike Venom in the back. He turns to see the NYPD, immediately whips a tendril, takes them out, before turning back to Norman with a grim smile growing across his teeth, unhinges his jaw, and then crushes the skull of Norman Osborn between his very teeth. Which point he then leaps into the air, grabs onto a fucking helicopter, and then it crashes into the ocean.
You know what happens when the helicopter crashes into the ocean, Scotty?
Huh?
I mean, I don't want to write your story for you, but I can't help, in this movie that's playing in my head, but here, ooh, wah,
that is, in fact, what happens. You hear, ooh, wah, as he goes into the earth. Next thing we see is literally, like, I took this from Venom, but I love that shot where Venom just, like, fucking swims through the ocean before jumping up onto a buoy. Does that. Eddie Brock is now there. He's alive, and he's kind of just trying to find a place to sit in the ocean. And he's first like, fuck yeah, I'm alive, I'm here. Until he looks back at the shore and sees absolute fucking chaos. And then we get a shot into Eddie Brock's mind itself, but what we're actually seeing is what's happened with Venom up to that point. He is an alien creature, attaches to various hosts, crash lands on Earth where he is retrieved by Oscorp employees. They run horrifyingly painful tests on the symbiotes, which Eddie feels in every synapse in his body. But before anything can happen with the symbiote, Spider-Man busts into the lab, and Venom makes a break for it, riding dirty with Spider-Man as his host. We then see what happens in the fight earlier into the day. We see that Spider-Man wasn't willing to kill Osborn. When the symbiote tried, Peter fought back and actually saved Goblin, which resulted in the deaths of everyone in that police car, numerous other victims in the streets. Because of Peter Parker's actions, numerous people died.
So because a teenager didn't want to kill a man is what you're saying.
More people died is what I am saying. It is this is also somewhat influenced by The Boys and just like what does it mean to be a superhero? What do you have to do? What do you need to be willing to do?
It's that good red, what was it? The red, what the fuck? Is it Red Hood?
Yeah,
Jason Todd Red Hood? Yes, that Red Hood philosophy.
Yeah, exactly. Venom forces Eddie to see everyone's dying before everything that's happened. This is essentially Eddie's Uncle Ben moment, except instead of it having to be someone he's emotionally connected to, it's just the fact that humans are dying because Eddie's a normal human being. It doesn't need where my unkie died to be motivated to save the world.
It's a real weird 180 from where you were at last week.
Venom hates Spider-Man because he's not willing to do what it takes to actually maintain peace, which is when the biggest bombshell gets dropped on Brock, Spider-Man's Peter Parker. Oh, fuck, what? Amazing surprise. Then Venom disses the absolute shit out of Eddie. This is not the Venom of the movie who's like,
We could be buddies, right? We cool? Are we friends?
Instead, he looks at him and he straight up says,
You are a useless, spineless thing that I can use however I wish. You do not have the strength to resist my wishes like Spider-Man.
Ooh, I know where this is going.
Now bite down. No.
Eddie then gets a message on his phone, which apparently survived in the ocean, which says, OMG, did you see this? And it's a link to a news article which reads, Head of Oscorp slain, showing Venom killing the head of one of the biggest corporations of New York, so everyone immediately labels him a villain. No one immediately is like, oh no, but he was Goblin, it was this. It's like, no. He is a popular magnate who you just fucking killed. We get found
not wearing like the Goblin armor.
Oh no, he's gotten wrecked apart. He's been just, that's my one thing I haven't figured out yet. Shut up. They show Spider-Man defeated. They attribute that to Venom as well. There's found footage of Venom's attack on the NYPD, followed by video of Spidey being loaded onto a fucking ambulance. Our Venom is not a happy-go-lucky symbiote. He's a fucking villain, at least as far as the world sees him. Eddie attempts to get the symbiote to leave him, but as Venom obliges, Brock's body falls to the earth in pain, with his broken ribs piercing into his organs. The only thing keeping him alive is Venom. Meanwhile, we cut back to a very familiar library. The library of Norman Osborn. Sitting in his chair, staring at the television, playing the same story that Eddie just saw, is Harry Osborn, and in his hands is his father's first goblin mask. In this universe, Harry is older, wiser, he knows what his father has done. He couldn't accept it, but he also knew he couldn't fight his father. And now as he sees his dad laid out on television, he can't help but feel he has to carry on his legacy. He rushes to Oscorp, furiously breaks into a top lab, screaming for the doctors to bring him something. A secret project that Oscorp had been funding for the past month or so. Everyone tells Harry that the project is unstable and could lead to severe issues if put into testing. The last shot we see, however, is a large platform being wheeled in front of him, and atop it is a large cylindrical tube. The last shot we see before we cut back to Venom is a tendril of dark green goo shooting towards Harry's hand, and he smiles wickedly.
Flubber.
It's Flubber! We then get a shot of a barren red planet and what appears to be a shimmering black pool of ooze. As we continue to explore the desolate landscape, the pool begins to move and shimmer, and a symbiote just jump scares the shit out of the camera, jolting Eddie awake in his bed. He sighs and thinks things are a dream until he looks next to him and sees a fucking mangled skull. Eddie leaps up in shock and awe. What the fuck is this? He screams, at which point in his head he hears
breakfast.
Eddie, shocked, rushes towards the TV where it's confirmed that everyone and their mother are on a manhunt for him and Venom. Eddie is terrified before remarking, "You think I can't make my own decisions, huh?" And then Eddie rushes to the roof. He knows he has no choice. He jumps off the side of the building, attempting to end his life, but then Venom sends two tendrils out of his feet, which connect with the top of the building. So Eddie just kind of whoop, and then crashes into the side of the building. Which point Venom screams,
"No, you do not get to make that choice. You're no good to me dead."
Suddenly, an ambulance rushes by, and Venom shrieks like a baby, and the tendrils retract, sending Eddie falling into a dumpster below. Eddie gets out before realizing two very important things. Venom hates loud, high-pitched sounds, and Venom needs Eddie. Eddie brings this up and the symbiote laughs, leaving his body and sending him falling to the earth in pain once again. The only problem, Venom is equally in pain, the heat of the sun beating down on him, causing him to boil and jump across the ground. "If I die, you die," Eddie remarks, causing Venom to shoot back into his body, furious. Venom is just as big of a fucking loser as Eddie Brock. They reach a tentative agreement to work together. Venom groans before attempting to get Brock back up to his apartment when they hear the sound of a woman screaming down an alleyway. Eddie and Venom rush over and find a woman being assaulted with a gun to her head. After a quick conversation, Eddie decides to take control, telling Venom that they aren't going to kill anyone.
But they look so delicious.
Eddie quickly threatens the goons, telling them to get out of there. "Or what?" they respond. Eddie smirks and holds out his arms. Nothing happens. The goons stare at him like he's an absolute psycho before he tries again. "Venom? What you doing, buddy?"
I help you if you help me.
"We aren't murderers." Brock has a conversation with himself that makes the goons even more confused.
We aren't murderers? Tell that to the bugle.
The goons finally get fed up. One rushes Brock and places a gun to his head. "You ain't a murderer? Well, unfortunately for you, kid, I am." But before he can pull the trigger, Venom takes control and wraps him in black tendrils before essentially turning him into what I can only describe as a very big gooey hammer, bashing him into his associates before repeatedly sending him into the earth until he's just a pile of viscera. It's one of those things that, like, at first you're uncomfortable, but then you just keep cutting between that and the woman just kind of staring, and then back to the chaos. So it's played for laughs. It's a little goofy. It's made for fucked up people. After he's done with the bloodbath, he turns to the woman, who doesn't seem scared at all. She instead seems grateful for what Venom's done. "Thank you," she relays. "Those guys have been bothering me for months. I've tried calling the cops. They've never done anything." She remarks to Venom, who looks down at her blood-covered clothing. We then hear Eddie go, "You know, some baking soda will take that right out." "Thanks," she responds before running away.
You see, Eddie, not everyone deserves redemption. Some people are just parasites that suck the very life from the world they live in.
Yeah, you've got a